You could if you wanted.
No, let's not. That's probably terrible.
Aranas, not really being familiar with mountains particularly much either, has, however, had friends and allies who have worked in very difficult situations, and, well, he has a few ways of handling it, but the one he will go to now is his faith. He will use his magical connection to the elven goddess to help alleviate his companions using the magic that his domains really embellish, which is making sure that they don't get tired from walking in the mountains and making sure that whatever scratches and cuts or falls that they might have remain non-fatal, protecting them and healing them as we move along. I would here use my cleric-y background and my wisdom, I believe, would be.
All right,
that makes sense.
That's fine for me. Okay.
Okay. My next idea then would be for Ms. Billy's already finished, so that's fine. But for Jasmine, well, we're in kind of a more hilly kind of more mountainous kind of area with lots of trees around. I think Jasmine, with all of her experience she's had with trying to maneuver in unusual terrains, trying to orientate herself, trying to get vantage points, spending a lot of time climbing up, trying to get height advantage, trying to just get a good view around, and just trying to overall find, gain that advantage so she can see the land and follow the tracks as it is, and continue orientating herself based on the ocean using her higher up, or at least compared to the Fangs using a higher up vantage points.
You are too far away from the ocean to the Midland Sea
The
to be able to use it.
The rivers of the Fangs, then.
Yes, the rivers of the Fangs could work.
Whatever was in view, essentially.
All right.
So I'm thinking strength here, for like climbing, and then like captain the appearance scouts.
Okay, sure. Doing what Aranas did.
Should be +3, +7.
All right.
Let's see. Well, it is a swamp and it is also storming, presumably raining rather heavily.
You are out of the swampy areas. You're into hilly and mountainous terrain.
Oh, hilly. Mm-hmm. Well, that kills that idea. I can't really come up with too much. Aurelia is not a great nature person.
Does anyone have any suggestions for Aurelia?
Find edible plants.
Well, what's your background?
Yeah, I don't know what Aurelia's actually background. She's like street artist.
I could document our struggles in a sketch.
You could, however, when Jasmine gets up there, you could make us a makeshift map so that we do not walk in circles and generally get an idea of the lay of the land, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Okay. So, what are we using here?
Let's see. My background and probably, I don't know. What would drawing something depend on? I guess wisdom, because you have to use
like a natural thing. Yeah.
A lot of common sense to make a proper map or something.
Wisdom or intelligence?
Ultra accurate cartography. I would allow you to use wisdom. You could use intelligence if you wanted, but I think your wisdom's better.
Yes. Oh, I forgot my level, but that's a 13.
Okay.
So your map is with crayons.
It just
There's 4
gets
lines
completely ruined by the rain or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Geráck takes charge here, easily able to lead the way. These low mountains may not be his home, but he has trained extensively in trekking through these, finding safe avenues where the party can walk. And although the rain makes traversing these narrow avenues very difficult, he's a skilled climber. He's got rope. He can make lovely little points for the weaker individuals to be able to climb areas that may have been inaccessible. While Aranas tries to bolster his companions by gracing them with the blessings and the safety of his goddess, which touches all of you to some extent, ensuring that perhaps you don't lose focus and forget why you're out here and decide to turn back and leave. Jasmine Rose ascends to the few trees that are in this area, as well as other vantage points on large rocky inclines, to try and get a look at the environs. Heavy sheets of rain pour down, however, severely impacting visibility. And the particular stretch of Fang that you're on here is so wide that you just can't see either of the rivers, although they must be swollen with the amount of water that is being placed upon them. This rain is certainly unnatural, in part because it just keeps going non-stop. There is no cease of it. There's times where it rains less, but it is an everyday affair. And your equipment gets bogged down, tents, bedrolls. It's impossible to start a fire unless you put a cover over it of some kind, because the amount of rain easily makes it go out. And Aurelia, she tries to orient herself by making some maps, and certainly she does aid in the worst of ensuring that you folks don't get lost. However, the immense rain is inhibiting her ability to sketch something effectively, as it just washes away most of the drawings and sketches that she makes.
She does mostly draw in charcoal and chalk, which is not very weather resistant.
No, it is not. It's really difficult to say how many days it's been. You can measure it by the amount of times that you've rested and gone to sleep. But due to how the land is almost coated in near darkness the entire time, due to the fact that, well, winter is here, and the clouds don't go away. It's such a thick cloud cover. You'd have to say that you've probably been out here for close to a month just to get here. But there is a moment at which the terrain changes, even if the weather does not, where the trees completely fall away, and several kilometers in the distance, the four of you are able to spot something rather, well, it's iconic. It's something that you could look at and say, that is definitely a thing, and might be what we're all the way out here for. It is a looming, dark fortress with tall spires, almost seeming like they stab into the clouds. It stands on a rather treacherous and steep cliff, embedded deeply into the rock. A narrow stairway works its way up the mountainside to reach. It's impossible to tell at such distance, but it must be a mighty entrance indeed. You think you can make out the sights of glimpses of figures that are flying near the spires. But at such your distance, and with the heavy rain, it's impossible to tell what might be out there. Really, it's difficult to say what might even be around you folks. Anyone who might be familiar with this terrain could probably pinpoint you folks. It would be difficult for anyone to track you, given all of the rain washing away your tracks. But some people track in other ways that don't involve footprints.
Can undead smell?
Well, they get weakened as well when it rains. That's why you go hunting when it rains. Well, it has rained, I suppose.
Yeah,
Some
but
people
can
track.
they actually...
Some people track using magic.
Yeah, that might also work, I guess.
Magical tracking. That's even an option that's open to rangers as well, by tracking less than normal ways.
Yeah, they can track flying creatures even.
There is no welcoming sign. There's no like welcome to Camp Zarza. There's no like little guest house. This is just several kilometers away, staring up the mountain. That the four of you are able to see this menacing fortress.
Like, what's the size of this thing? Sort of.
This would be the size of an actual castle. It is a castle, and not a small castle.
Gonna assault a castle? All current condition?
I mean,
Well, I mean, it took forever to get out here.
assaults and castles usually mean armies.
Yeah. That it usually does.
Unless we want to sneak inside, which...
And do what?
I don't know, look
Not
around.
fight them?
No, surgical strike.
Yeah, I don't know what we can actually do against that thing. We need like siege equipment and stuff.
None of you are trained engineers on that front, but it would be absolute hell to get siege equipment out here. You would have to like pull trees from like the swamp and from like the surrounding regions, and this particular mountain and hill, like the trees stopped.
Yeah, would be probably better to go in for the north, I would assume.
Like there's no roads here either, so anyone that you bring out here is going to be marching straight through all of this, with the supply lines required to support it.
Are there any sort of... Does it look like there's like tons of skeletal archers or something on the walls?
You're too far to tell. There's too much rain. There could be plenty of figures up there. There might not be any figures up there. You'd have to get closer.
Yeah.
If only we had some sort of army that could mostly fly, like,
Like a bird who can scout.
Mirv already used his scout ability.
Oh, well, yeah, because make sure we didn't get lost after that antics.
Well, let's go closer then and see if we can see anything. We're probably better at spotting things than skeletons are.
Yes.
There's like 40 vampires or some shit.
The four of you trek closer. The terrain, just as treacherous. The ground is very loose. And you do end up finding yourself stopping on several occasions. Geráck being the one who notices these things all too well. And you could end up causing an avalanche. Or a mudslide. Shit just piling right on top of you folks. But with the slow progression of time and determination and energy, you do manage to draw yourselves closer. And as you do so, the rain around you lessens. It's weird. Like off in the distance, maybe like a kilometer away, you can see that the rain is pouring really damn hard. But sort of like within a large bubble around you folks, basically extending out to like a half kilometer, if not a full kilometer, the rain has diminished. And perhaps has just fallen down to just a drizzle.
has it just recently fallen to a drizzle, or does the area look...
Effect.
Thinking back, it's fallen to a drizzle as you folks began your trip to go closer. The closer you've gotten, the less the rain has fallen on you.
Does the area look less drenched in rain as well?
No. It's still thoroughly drenched. It's still storming all around you folks, but it's, instead of a monsoon on you, it's a drizzle on you. And the bubble moves with you.
Someone is being very polite.
Someone is being very creepy.
Approaching closer, a kilometer, and then even shortening the distance further, starting to make your way up the winding staircase that leads all the way up to the massive gate. There is no moat. There's no drawbridge, but there is certainly a heavy, thick gate of adamantine. Looking up at the parapets, there are several figures that are completely clad in armor spread about. There is one figure in particular, though, who does stand out from the rest. A rather slim and muscular fellow. Appears to have green eyes, and he seems to be waving in your direction.
We should leave.
If we're close enough to see his eye color, then we're a little too close.
Yeah.
We should just leave. We found the place.
Well, his hair color and eye color would be more notable for Aurelia and Geráck because they've seen him before.
Yeah.
Well, Aurelia, if we leave now, what have we accomplished here? You wanted to find this information.
We found the place. We can come back later.
But what's that gonna do? Just gonna punch the adamantine gate, right? You can run up walls and stuff.
And then what?
It's a fortress.
I don't know.
It's a fortress that we are apparently being greeted by. Well, not the fortress, but Leon
I do
over
imagine
there.
we can't really run anyway.
We could try.
Well, I'll be in the back. You guys know this man. You can probably do something.
Oh,
Oh.
suppose we should. Well, since we've been spotted anyways, and it appears that we have not been attacked, but rather protected from the rain, we might as well move closer.
Okay.
This is not gonna end well.
The four of you can continue to make your way up the winding stairway passage. It takes a few tries. Leon shouts something unintelligible a few times, but then he rolls his eyes as he's too far. And then the rain almost entirely stops around you, as well as you're close enough to the castle that it would stop on him, too. And he says, "I was waiting for you to show up. I knew it was only a matter of time before you found this place."
And he was really eager to say that.
Welcome, Aurelia. Welcome, Geráck, to the home of Prince Zarza. He's not here right now, but consider yourselves free to leave a message with me if you'd like.
How long have you been serving him?
Hold on. Undead trains coming through.
That'd be scary, wouldn't it? Like made of
Prince
bones.
Zarza fucking just comes chugging through with a train, just rolls over the entire party. Well, guys,
Didn't
good
know.
campaign.
The thing you gave the Lich King was also an underground railroad to the necropolis.
Shit. That's a great image.
500 damage.
Yep.
The
I take
bone
a
train.
wound. I take no damage.
This was not what I expected when he told me he would train me.
Oh.
Leon calls down, "Serve him?" Well, how long has it been since you left me for dead?
You
You were dead.
Yes. How long has it been since you left me for dead? Several months now, close to half a year.
And before then?
I wouldn't say I served him. Now, I don't know how polite it is for you to walk all the way up here just to yell questions at me. But, I did know you would come. Of course you came to follow up on my offer whenever we last spoke, all the way in Moonwreck. I did say there would be opportunities open for at least the two of you. I don't know about the others, but you two in particular who involve yourselves and aided the plans of the true king of this realm. The one-eyed king, the Lord of Dead. Really, Geráck, I am glad that you saw the reason in that, forsaking your vows and the typical haughtiness of paladins to change your views on life.
that is not what happened.
No?
And I'm afraid we're gonna have to decline your offer.
Walked all the way out here just to decline an offer.
That is, of course, for the moment until you give us some more information about that plan of yours. Such as, why now? Why is all of this happening now when it could have happened years ago, hundreds of years ago?
Because it could not have happened hundreds of years ago.
What changed?
In part, my death. Thank you for that, by the way, Aurelia. I don't hold a grudge against you.
Aurelia frowns.
I know that you were mentally ailed, and were not under your own powers. As I told you before, back in Moonwreck, I am the product of an ages-old experiment to release the White from her horrid prison. Now, my particular involvement came the first time I died, which was 200 or so years ago. I forget the exact year. That was when my love, as well as Zarza, not a prince at the time, began their research, which culminated in numerous lifetimes of mine, some of which, actually all of which, ended in horrid circumstances, and ended up with the last one that I had with you, which ended in a living dungeon. But process has finally been completed in me, and through me, the White. Now, of course, we could not have gotten her bonds free without your assistance. Well, we could have, it just would have taken longer. Thank you for that. I'm back in the call. Holy shit.
Welcome back.
Yeah, my internet was weird.
Yes, I don't know what the last part you folks heard was. Neither do any of you, it seems.
Well,
that's good.
I just said the things I said, so I should remember them. Let's see.
He said that his last lifetime here ended in a living dungeon.
Yes. And that was
And then-
actually the last thing I said.
Okay, and then I said, or tried to say before Skype died, that Aurelia nods, says, I suppose the timing makes sense then, but I would like one more answer if you don't mind. Why do these plans involve the Free? How are they necessary?
Leon furrows his brows and says, well, shouldn't you be asking one of them that?
I would if I had the opportunity. Although I would probably do something else if I had the opportunity, I suppose.
Well, I know you know the suspicion, Aurelia. We've talked about this before. And he actually holds up one of his hands. So, there's 3 dragons, and, hold on. So, there's 3 dragons, the 3, blue, black, red. And then you
And
have
soon?
another dragon. And then that makes 1, 2, 3, 4 dragons. 4. Dragon Empire isn't doing a whole lot of good for many factions. I assume that includes the individuals you once served. We all have our plans and machinations, don't we, Aurelia? And I can assure you, on behalf of the king and my prince, we would treat you far better than they would. After all, you've done a great service, helping to herald in always winter.
That was an accident.
Don't sell yourself short, Aurelia. You had to accept the power with intent. Could not do it by accident. Had to make the deal, had to consent to it, knowing what you were consenting to. And you did, accepting power from the true king of this world. As you should have.
This whole thing started way before that happened. You're obviously lying.
I've heard you make that declaration many times, Geráck. That
I
proud,
stand by it.
stubborn, dwarven attitude. You stand by many things. Like the Lord of Dead.
I don't serve him.
I questioned that many times, too. I was wrong. You made a deal with the Lich King in exchange for power. Just one step.
I was tricked. And us two, we're very different.
You weren't tricked. You knew full well what you were accepting. You had to have. Otherwise, the ritual would not have worked. I know my prince appeared right before you. In the quasi-flesh, more like spirit. In the spirit. And you could see my prince with your own eyes and make your own intelligent decision. You chose your path. And certainly, the Lord of Dead is thankful that you made the right choice.
My mind was not in its right place at the moment.
Oh, isn't that convenient? I'm sure the Great Gold Worm will understand. Oh, just a failed paladin who, sided with the Lich King in a moment of weakness. It'll never happen again, honest.
There's no point arguing about this, Geráck. Think about what I said right after you agreed to what you did and wanted to die against the Frostfist. Intentions are very different from actions.
Aurelia,
No point.
you would also know full well that the Dragon Empire would never accept someone such as yourself. Say you were to, by some means, topple the three. Well, then Dragonhall would be scrubbed of those non-humanoids. Dragonkin, for their long services to the Blue and Black, would be mercilessly hunted. The Archmage has tolerated you up to now because you've been a useful tool. Do you think you will be pardoned by your continued efforts?
You will.
Aurelia doesn't say anything.
You will, says the person who... Well, you know.
Your word doesn't mean much to me, Leon. Not anymore.
Oh. Well, I mean, what can I do? I only have a castle. I only have the Orb of Storms. I only have a prince and a king, both of whom are capable, while the Empire is scattered and about to be blown into the wind like ash.
Oh, I don't doubt your power. I just doubt your word.
Why do you keep asking me questions if you keep not believing me? Why have you even bothered to seek information from me at all, if you don't trust anything I tell you? That seems awfully stupid.
There's information you can discern from lies as well.
Oh, you're not very good at that. I traveled with you. I would know.
He's right, Geráck.
Aurelia? What does that mean?
Just saying that we're not very good at asking the right questions.
Aranas still standing behind both of you, frowning, looking at Jasmine, sort of semi-worried. There seems to be a little more involvement with the Lich King than he thought when he heard about Geráck's reputation.
So, Geráck
Jasmine, give me
Zold,
it back.
you are looking to reunite your family and, of course, deal with your father and the temptress who has lulled him into weakness and febrility. Of course, you found your sister, and we saved her together as a group. And of course, as your brother at large, I do imagine, though, that someone captured your brother, like they did your sister, hoping to use him as a tool. Now, you could flail around in the dark and the light, and against the coming tides, hoping that you can somehow save Zold. But wouldn't it be easier to do that if you actually had someone who would support you? Besides just a few other traveling companions? I have a castle. I have an artifact.
I'm not alone in this, Leon. And I imagine the price of what you're asking is way too much to pay.
If it isn't, plenty have paid it. It's better than Diabolist. Won't bring demons into the world. I don't like those. And Aurelia, I do have some knowledge about your situation, and some knowledge about Exilia, and I am sure that you would never want what happened to you to happen to anyone else ever again. The 3, the 4. Well, life will change for many people, and many entities who thought themselves powerful when ice and bone come, and the Dragon Empire falls, and the true king rises to power. Your talents and skills would be most appropriate there, giving you the freedom to pursue whatever suits your fancy.
If he would have his way, there would be no life remaining.
And certainly I think there are better examples of good out there than the supposed loyal follower of the Great Gold Worm who's trying to redeem you. Really, at this point, you might actually be better on the path than he is.
I have found him quite adequate so far, and I will tell you that I have no intention of being yet another tool, and that in a world that cannot even be described as one, should the plan continue as it currently seems to progress. My task is not revenge, although that is the satisfying part of it. You would not understand, Leon. Not at this point, not anymore.
Leon looks past Geráck and Aurelia. His eyes settle on Aranas. How about you, former Warden of the Green? I've heard of your times and troubles. Certainly you would not want the Green to break free from its prison. Can't really succeed in doing that job adequately if you're all grinded to dust because the Dragon Empire has failed. You could use a better supporter. Someone who would actually help you with your problems.
Aranas will, for a moment, close his eyes and ask the elven goddess for strength and reaffirm his faith in her ways and in the ways of what is good.
I'm going to take that as a perhaps another time. His eye slid over to Jasmine. As for
I'm looking
you,
forward to this one.
Lady Vayne, He actually, looks down at the parapet. To be honest, I really don't have any argument for you.
I didn't think so.
Or shakes his head. Your family's too deeply connected to the Emperor. I don't think I could make a case one way or the other. Not unless you'd be willing to stay here and indulge in my hospitality. He flourishes down to the ground where the adamantine gate rests. We could get you out of the storm.
Tempting offer, but I will stick with my companions.
Of course. Leon sighs,
I thank you for your hospitality, then.
looking back between Aurelia and Geráck. It's about what I thought would happen. 4 of you would come here, Geráck would bluster at me, Aurelia would side with him, and ultimately, I'd be standing here above my gate, and you 4 would be looking up at me.
Aranas will open his eyes and say, perhaps it is not too late for you. If you were truly once one who walked the path of the good and the true, then perhaps you may return to such a path.
The good and the true. You should reaffirm your purposes by realigning them. Swear fealty to the Lord of Dead, take his bony hand, and he will reward you, as he has my prince, my love, and indeed myself, for I would have been dead 200 years ago, were it not for their assistance. I have been given renewed flesh numerous times, and I keep all of my memories of the adventuring times I've had. Yes, I remember what it's like to be an adventurer, to think that I could make good and justice in the world with no support from almost anyone. Because the people won't appreciate what you've done, the bureaucracy won't appreciate what you've done, the icons themselves will regard you as insignificant, and you'll have to toil so hard just for a modicum of support.
Is that why you did it?
Why I did what?
Worked for praise? Those things mean nothing.
I consider your word to be just as valueless as you consider mine. You gave your support to my lord.
You don't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. You do not have to serve anyone. You can simply walk away.
Oh,
Leave the service and try to turn your life around.
I serve willingly.
So have I for many of my own years.
I
If
also
you know these two, you might have known others. There might have been people who in your time have set good examples for you. You might once have held a faith, had a deity who could support you in the times when things were hard. If you have not, perhaps you could find it.
Look around you. Where are the gods here?
They are above, enabling me to speak as I do in a place such as this. It is my choice to do so, and I'm only capable because they allow it. Because I'm lent power to do so.
Many such as you, including myself in many of my failed lifetimes, have taken that same approach and died.
We all die at some point.
Not everyone. I certainly don't plan on dying.
Well, that's life is not worth living.
I suppose that's one ignorant attitude. I won't begrudge your opinion, however wrong it might be.
What would you continue living for? What is the purpose of your life?
My love, my power, and I do value my service and loyalty. You, he looks down at Aurelia and Geráck, certainly didn't waste any effort siding with an intellect assassin instead of bringing me back. Had you resurrected me, all of this could have been stopped. The White would still be in chains, the process wouldn't be perfected, I'd still be traveling with you. As ignorant as I was then, but I'd still be with you.
If we had known that Wayne was an intellectual warrior, we would have never have worked with him. So,
Yes, but that still doesn't change the fact that you left me to be stolen in the dirt.
yes, we did not know that would happen. We did not know as well as Dwarf did.
Okay. So, it's all Dwohiram's fault, and none of this is any wrongdoing on you. You're entirely blameless.
I didn't say that. I have done wrong. And I am ashamed of it, but I am trying to use my life to compensate my wrongdoings.
So, what do you four think you're doing from here?
I think that we will consider what you said, just as you should consider the things we have said.
I don't think you will consider what I've said. You might, Aurelia. I don't think the others will.
I believe they will, each in their own way. Perhaps not in the way that you intend them to be considered, and yet they will certainly not be ignored.
We will certainly remember them, in any case.
I believe that unless you plan to attack us now, that we will probably meet again.
Tempting. My prince would be pleased if I handled you all personally. But
Perhaps then we could also capture you. Perhaps take the chance to turn you onto a better path.
you four couldn't defeat me alone. And I wouldn't be alone.
Unfortunately, I must say, I doubt he's going to particularly come along. He does not seem like the type. You might have known him better, but...
He lets out a loud whistle. Balioth! Ladion! Looking up at the sky, and two of the wing figures break from one of the spires and begin swooping down towards the front gate.
It sounds like he is rather eager to show us the power that he is offering us as well.